Thanks for tuning in. Today I want to share my guide to Chanel handbags. I was thinking about how I could share this information and how I could make it fun compared to me just like sitting down and going through everything. So I tried to put something together that's a little bit different. I decided to focus them around different questions, like questions that you guys would ask me a lot. So these are sort of like my answers to those commonly asked questions, especially around Chanel handbags, Chanel sizes, classic flaps, all of that good stuff. So I hope you find this helpful, and I hope you find it a bit entertaining. I didn't want it to be like a 30-minute sit-down video where I'm just going through, bringing up a bag, talking about it, and putting it away. So I hope you find this format a little bit more dynamic. If you're tuning in for the first time, hi, I'm Katie. I like to do these luxury fashion videos here on YouTube. I share hauls and reviews, but at the end of the day, I share my journey so we can all mindfully curate our own collections. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave a comment down below with your favorite Chanel handbag. All of your support really means a lot to me. I hope you like this setup. I pulled out pretty much all the Chanel hangers that I had and to hang them up. I thought it would look visually pleasing too, and I plan on pulling each one out as I answer each question. And if you have any other questions that I might not have answered, feel free to add those in the comment section down below as well, and I will answer them in the comments. So let's get started with the first question. If this is your first classic flap and you're planning on wearing it for pretty much everything, like you want a size that you can use for daytime and use for nighttime, then I recommend the medium classic flap. This is my medium classic flap. Now, as you can see, I have it in a tweed finish. This exact combination might not be the best first handbag. You may want to look for one that's in a leather finish. It doesn't have to be black. It should be in a color that you love, that you know goes with a lot of items in your wardrobe, goes with the color palette that's in your wardrobe. That could be black, that could be navy, that even could be red, but it doesn't really matter what the color is. I do think for your first classic flap though, that it would be better to get it in a leather finish. So this is the medium classic flap that I have. It's in a tweed finish, as you can see here, and it has a bit of navy leather. Let me just show you what it looks like on my frame. So with both handles up, I can wear it very comfortably on my shoulder, and you can see it looks like a handbag. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't look like I took like a kid's bag. Like, it looks like a good sized handbag. It's pretty proportionate to my entire frame, my overall body shape. And the shoulder strap is not too tight. It's not too long. And that's why I find the medium classic flap to really be the good size to get for your first classic flap. I also like to wear it where I pull one of these straps all the way, and I can wear it over my shoulder like this. And it hits me right at the hip. For reference, I am 5'6", and I would say I have a pretty medium build. I cannot really crossbody. I can show you, but it sort of hugs right underneath my chest area, a little too close for comfort. If it came down maybe an inch or probably 2 inches, then I could wear it as like a short crossbody, but I don't really think the medium classic flap is crossbody friendly. With both of them pulled up, I can wear it in the crook of my arm, and it's pretty comfortable as well. For your very first classic flap, I recommend the medium classic flap. I feel like it's a good size that's going to fit all of your essentials for the day, but it's also not too large that you couldn't take it out for an evening out. I shared that I am pretty medium build. If you are very petite, I would recommend the small classic flap. This is the one that I have in my collection. So this is a small classic flap with a gray lambskin silver hardware finish. The small classic flaps do have a double flap still, and you have all of the look of a classic, I mean, it is a classic flap. It may not be as overwhelming on your frame. Similar to the medium classic flap, it has two chain handles that when you pull them up, you can wear as a shoulder strap, or you can wear the bag as a shoulder bag. That's what I meant to say. And on my frame, you can see it is still a very nice size. I don't think it looks too small to still be on my shoulder, but it is a bit smaller than the medium classic flap, of course. So if you have a petite frame, I definitely feel like the small classic flap is going to give you very nice proportions to your body. And similar to the medium classic flap, I pull one of the straps and I can throw this over my shoulder. So for someone who's very petite and is looking for an everyday bag, or it's your first Chanel classic flap, then I do think the small classic flap will be an excellent size for you to be able to carry day and night. Now, the benefit of the classic flap is that you're able to pull both straps up like this because you have 4 grommets up here, 2 and 2, and it allows you to adjust the strap length. But actually, the small classic flap still comes with a pretty premium price because it is part of the classic flap range. So if you're petite framed, I also recommend the mini. The classic mini is also great, and usually it's a pretty significant amount less than your small classic flap. This is the mini, the classic rectangular mini that I have in my collection. It is a black chevron quilted PVC overlay, so black mini. I'm sharing all the details in case some of you are curious, but actually it might be better for me to reference my Chanel collection video, my updated collection. I'll link it up above so you can check it out, and I go into a lot more detail of all of my pieces there. But if you are petite framed, I do also recommend the mini classic flap, and that's mostly because of the price point. Usually the minis are a bit less than the small classic flap, and the minis don't come with a second flap, so you're able to pretty much fit the same amount of stuff that you would in here as well as the small classic flap, but you don't carry the hefty price tag. But the main difference is that the mini only has 2 grommets and the chain strap is a lot longer. It's intended for you to wear as a crossbody bag. So you can see for me it hits right below my hips, and it's a very, very comfortable crossbody length. You can also, of course, throw it over your shoulder. It's a little bit longer than the small classic flap. The small classic flap would have hit around here. Unfortunately, you're unable to kind of pull the straps through the bag and shorten it. But what I do like to do is I will cross the straps over once like this. I'll make like an X. I will loop it through the flap, and if you close the bag, you pretty much have shortened handles and you can carry the bag as a shoulder bag. The difference is that you'll just see the straps coming through the side. It doesn't bother me, and so I like that, but if it bothers you, then the small classic flap would be a better option if you want that short handle shoulder bag look. But with the straps folded up, I can wear it as a shoulder bag, as you can see. It does feel a little bit tight for me, but I will do the straps like this often and actually wear it in the crook of my arm. I prefer this or handheld because of how small and how easy it is to carry. And I do feel like this makes it easier for a more nighttime look. So a long-winded way of saying, if you are petite and you don't want to spend the money on a small classic flap, then go for a medium classic flap in the rectangular size, because I think this preserves much more of that classic flap look. Not to say that the square doesn't, but it's just like the proportions on the larger size classic flaps are still rectangular. So the rectangular mini is more similar than a square mini. In that instance, this might seem like an obvious answer, but I would recommend the jumbo size. The one I have is a vintage jumbo, so I will go into some of the differences there. But I do recommend a jumbo size because While I find the medium classic flap does fit all of my essentials and pretty much everything that I would need on a day-to-day, if you're someone who's used to carrying around a lot of stuff, then you're going to be more used to having a little bit more room in your bag. In that case, you might find this medium classic flap to be a little restricting. And if you find it to be restricting, you might be less likely to wear it, and then it won't really become that kind of everyday bag that you want it to be. In that case, I do think it's going to be worth spending a little bit more and getting the jumbo classic flap, the jumbo size, because it will be bigger, because you're able to kind of fit the things without you having to worry about whether they'll fit, whether you have to downsize something, and all of that kind of hassle, if you will, if that's not natural to you. So that's why I do recommend the jumbo size. Now, for me, I do have a vintage jumbo. The proportions, the shape of it is slightly different from your classic flap jumbo that you will see in the boutiques today. This vintage is also a single flap, which means I think it's a lot easier to use than a double flap jumbo. So if you carry a lot of stuff, if you really carry a lot of stuff and you're looking for a bigger handbag, I will actually recommend a vintage jumbo for you specifically. But if you're looking to get something straight from the boutique still, then I still think the classic flap jumbo is still going to be a better size. The larger handbags will fit more stuff. The reason why I'm not recommending a Maxi is because once you start filling it with the things that you need to carry, your handbag will get pretty heavy. And so the larger the size, the more you put in there, the even heavier it gets. And that's why I draw the line at a jumbo. I really don't think a Maxi is really necessary. For reference, this is what the vintage jumbo looks like on me. Again, the vintage styles have slightly different proportions. And I also believe the vintage jumbos have a longer shoulder drop. So as you can see, this pretty much hits like my elbow pretty much hits right on the edge of the bag. The classic flap jumbos in the boutiques today will be a little bit shorter, okay? This is the way that I like to carry my jumbo the most. It feels the most comfortable this way. You can also thread the strap through, and it does become a crossbody size, but as you can see, it's pretty long, so it's not the most comfortable. I'm gonna be really honest with you guys, like I rarely do this. So you're looking for something every day so you can drive down your cost per wear, and you can easily carry it for errands or brunch or pretty much everything that you would want to do. For that, I recommend the classic mini. I'm gonna show my mini again. I do recommend the classic mini for all the reasons that I shared earlier for the petite question, but also because I just love that it gives you an easy hands-free option. So if you need to, you can throw it crossbody and you can go about your day. You can go on your errands. You can go for brunch. You can go for a day of shopping. Like pretty much anything, any kind of all-day activity that you're doing outside, you can pretty much carry this with you and wear it crossbody. Now, if you want to dress it up a little bit, you can always manipulate the handles a little bit and make it into this kind of hand carry bag. It's still small, so it's easy for you to take out for evenings if you want to, you know, have a little handbag with you in the evenings, and it's just really easy to use and incorporate for a lot of your outfits as well. So I really find that the classic mini is a really great everyday bag. It's large enough that it fits all of my essentials for the day. Granted, it's not really fitting a full-size wallet and your sunglasses and your like little pochette and your keys, and like it won't fit all of that. I definitely have to use a card holder, and I'm definitely mindful of the extra bits that I carry in there. As long as I downsize a little bit, then I know I can fit all of my essentials for the day. Okay, with all the crazy price increases, the classic flap is out of budget for you. Don't you worry, check out the seasonal bags that come out with each collection. This is a seasonal bag that I got many years ago now. It's called the Burgundy Rocks. It's in this beautiful teal blue. It's a shiny lambskin with ruthenium hardware. Because it was a seasonal bag, it was not as expensive as the classic flaps. Every season, Chanel will come out with new silhouettes, slightly different styles. Sometimes they're in a color that's tying in with the whole theme with that collection, but it's a different silhouette. The seasonal bags are definitely worth checking out. Like, a lot of times they will have elements that are very reminiscent of the classic bags, but aren't exactly the same. So there's something a little bit different about them. The reason why I really love this one was it looks like a classic flap, just with the diamond quilting and all of that. But the hardware looked like it came from like the boy style. It was a lot more kind of edgy. It had that kind of tough element to it, and I loved how it mixed both of those together. And this is still a handbag that I love to carry even now. Like, I never look at it different because it was a seasonal bag. I don't look at it and go like, oh, like you only came out that one season. Like, no, it's still beautiful. It's still made with the same craftsmanship. It's still gorgeous. Sometimes there might be some differences, like the inside lining is in fabric and not in leather. And a lot of times you can tell which bags are considered seasonal bags because they will have the leather portion in the straps. I don't know if that holds true 100% nowadays, because I do see lots of bags that have this and then come back collection after collection. So that might be like a loose guideline. When I was getting this one, this was pretty certain. Like, if you saw this leather bit on your straps, like, you know it was a seasonal bag. So that's just something to look out for. For evening, I would have to say a classic walk. Now, I know Chanel comes out with clutches. They're dedicated clutches, and they're gorgeous. However, I still think a walk is a better option for you to have as an evening bag. Why? Because you can always tuck your straps in and carry it as a clutch. And you'd have that for like the beginning of the evening when you're like taking your photos, everything is all like stylish and it looks perfect, right? As the night goes on, you know you want to throw it on your shoulder. You know, the walk gives you that strap option. A lot of times if you buy like a dedicated clutch, there is no strap. There's no way, you have to hold on to it for the entire evening. And sometimes that gets old. I mean, for me at least, that gets old really fast. So I prefer a walk. The one that I have is in the reissue style. This is in an iridescent purple lambskin with the rainbow oil slick hardware. I've worn this out like for evenings, and I've also worn it very casually as well. So I feel like you get a lot more versatility with a walk. It gives you the small compact size that you need for an evening look, but it gives you the strap, it gives you the option to be able to use it for errands during the day. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like that's what helps drive the cost per wear down. When I wear it crossbody on my frame, it hits just under around my hips, the widest part of my hips. So it's a very, very comfortable crossbody length. I can also shorten the straps by just tucking the strap right underneath the flap once. And this makes it a better shoulder, kind of fling over the shoulder long length. I can also crossbody at this length, and I've done it before for when I'm wearing dresses. Sometimes the proportions work better this way. And so because it's a very slim, compact profile, even though it comes up a little bit higher, I still feel comfortable wearing this because it doesn't feel like something really bulky is just like right underneath my chest. So I can also wear it this way. And then last but not least, let me undo the little tuck in that I did. I'll cross the straps again and I will throw it underneath the flap. And this makes it like a little shoulder bag. And so there are so many ways that you can wear a classic walk. That's why I think the walk is a much better evening bag option, because of all this versatility that it has. If you're looking for something lightweight, 100% look for a fabric finish. The fabric bags are going to always be lighter than your full leather handbags. It's just That's physics. The material itself is lighter than leather will be. So even though this is the Chanel 19 in the Maxi size, it's the largest Maxi bag. This is one of the lightest Chanel handbags that I own. The most weight there is actually comes in the hardware. So the chunky hardware is what's really adding kind of weight to this bag. But if you took the hardware off, this is pretty much like a pillow. There's like very, very, very minimal weight to it. If you're really averse to having heavy handbags, there are really two options. You can size down, so get a smaller bag, but if you really need the space, then look for a larger handbag that's going to be in a fabric finish. The same thing is true for my tweed, my medium flap tweed right here. The inside is still structured with leather, so there is a bit of leather in there, but because the outer is that tweed fabric, it is much lighter than even my small classic flap. The small classic flap weighs more than my medium. So be on the lookout for fabric finish bags if you're looking for something more lightweight. I know I was recommending the walk for evening if you were looking for an evening clutch, but if you're really determined on getting a clutch for yourself, then definitely check out the O cases. So the O cases I think are technically considered an SLG, and they're not considered handbags. A lot of times I find the O cases will be very simple and very functional, but won't have a crazy price tag with it. So it's definitely something to explore and check out. This is an O case. This is from 2019. Because it was an O case, it was not as expensive as some of their actual clutch handbags can be. And this is also an O case that's on a pretty large size. They do have different sizes for their O cases. They start out as like small kind of little pouches, and they get larger and larger and larger. This is definitely on the largest size that they make, but like if you look at this definitely looks like a clutch. It's a really good size for you to be able to carry some of your essentials for the day. This one happens to come with a wristlet strap, but not all of them do. So depending on what you're looking for, you might be able to find an O case that is able to function as a clutch for you. So definitely check that out. If you're in a place where you really want something that's very special, that is not as typical, you're less likely to see someone else carry the same thing, then I definitely recommend you look towards embellished pieces. This is the embellished handbag in my collection. It is an entire sequined handbag. The sequins are in a bit of a gradation. I hope you can see that, but it starts out kind of light silver and it goes into a dark kind of sparkly black. This is definitely not something that everybody is going to have. So getting a piece that has embellishments, whether it's going to be pearls, whether it's going to be charms, whether it's going to be even a tweed finish, or this kind of sequin finish, appliques on top of them. There are so many different options. So it's more a matter of being able to find the style that really suits you. A word of caution when it comes to embellished pieces. As you would suspect, embellished pieces oftentimes come with a pretty hefty price tag. Now, when I was looking at this piece, I got this piece because I felt like the price point was really great for an entirely sequined handbag. At the same time, in the same collection, there were other handbags that had come out, and those were running prices in 5 digits. So they were like 10K, 12K. If you have the budget for that, then there's absolutely no problem. If you don't have the budget for that though, don't worry. It's not worth it. Honestly, I couldn't see myself spending 10 or 12K on an embellished handbag from Chanel. I know there's a lot of work that goes into it, but I didn't want it that much, if that makes sense. But there are also handbags that are on the pre-loved market. You can also find some vintage pieces that have very special elements to them that make them stand out. So that's another way for you to be able to seek out some of those really cool pieces without that crazy price tag that often comes with embellished handbags. Just be mindful, basically. The journey might take a while for you to find the right embellished piece. Keep your eyes and options open for different kinds of finishes that they might have. I feel like it got progressively darker. I'm so sorry. In the wintertime, it's really hard for me to film with full sunlight throughout the whole thing. So I hope you were still able to see everything. I hope you found this video helpful, and I tried to break down my guide for handbags, for Chanel handbags, the best I could. The best recommendations that I make for my friends and for people who ask me questions all the time. What is your favorite Chanel handbag? Size, style, color, whatever it is, let me know in the comment section down below, because I love to learn what everybody's favorites are and like what makes it work for them, because that's just more data. That's like more information for me to know and be able to make a better decision in the future. But if you had a specific question that you felt like wasn't answered in this video, feel free to leave them down below or head on over to Instagram and I'd be happy to help however I can. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate all of your feedback and support. If you like this kind of content and you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I post new fashion-related videos every Sunday and Wednesday. So until next time, bye!